Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Bruce here, traveling with Bruce. How's it going today? Let me check my hair, what there is of it. Oh yes. How you doing? Welcome to the show. It's a Tuesday. It is Tuesday.
Hey everybody, how you
March.
doing? It's Bruce here, traveling with Bruce. How's it going today? Let me check my hair, what there is of it. Oh yes. How you doing?
March 26th. Sorry about that, folks. I keep forgetting to mute my own electronics. It's incredible. You think I'd know this. This is all I do. Well, what can I tell you? Having too much fun getting everything rolling here in LA. Welcome one, welcome all to March the 26th, 2019. Glad to have you coming by and joining and visiting with me today. Cruise ship news and what's going on out there in the cruise world. If it's your first time here, welcome to the channel. I'm Bruce, and this is Traveling with Bruce. We are broadcasting this week from Los Angeles. Normally, I am in Creston, British Columbia, but visiting with my daughter, having a great time down here. The walls behind me are getting bare because she's getting ready to move out and head back to Canada. We are going to continue our vacation down here, Jennifer and I, for a little longer. We're going to head over to the Palm Desert area and over to Phoenix, and we have some friends to visit for another week. So I'll be broadcasting next week from Phoenix, Arizona. Fantastic. Looking forward to it. It's going to be great. In the meantime, following cruise stories as they evolve, and I have more to talk to you about today, which I'll get to in just a second. Thank you for all of you who've been joining this channel lately, especially the new subscribers. Speaking of new subscribers, we are, as of yesterday, we had 644 yesterday. Now we're at 19,718. Broke 19.7 this morning. Looks like we're going to go for 19.8 later tonight, maybe tomorrow. On our way to 20,000 subscribers. Yeah, man, this is exciting stuff. Really awesome. Loving this, and welcome new joiners to the channel. I'm glad you're finding the channel. I hope you like what you see. I like to do live shows Monday to Friday, 5 o'clock Eastern, Saturdays at 2. I like to do trivia Tuesdays and Thursday nights at 8 o'clock, and tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Trivia. I'm ready for live trivia tonight. I got the questions all ready to roll. Going to have some fun with you on this one. Should be good tonight. So if you're not doing anything tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern, come on over to this channel and join me for live Traveling with Bruce trivia questions, and we'll see just how sharp you really are out there. We have a good time with that. Thanks for that. Thank you for all your support and all your kind words and best wishes. Love it. Jennifer and I really appreciate it. We're getting folks who are popping into the Traveling with Bruce RedBubble store, occasionally picking up some items from RedBubble, which is fabulous. Also, Amazon, the affiliate link for Amazon. People are coming into the Amazon affiliate page that I have. The details are just below in the description under here. Thank you for visiting that site and picking up a few items here and there. Anything you buy on Amazon through our affiliate link, channel earns a bit of a commission. Thank you very much. And then there's those of you out there who are Patreoning this channel and also making donations on PayPal. And speaking of PayPal donations, Peter Heckema, it's Tuesday. Thank you for your contribution today to my channel. Really appreciate it as always. One of my faves out of Florida. Thank you so much. Tarpon Springs, Florida, to be exact. Thank you, Peter, for your continued support of this YouTuber as he continues to struggle along. What else am I going to talk to you about today? Is there anything else on the channel I want to bring up today? I don't think so. I'm frantically working away, trying to figure out how to attract sponsorship to the show. Got a few messages out to see what I can drum up. But when you're a micro YouTuber like I am, small, under 100,000 subscribers, you're known as a micro influencer. And there are certain advertisers or sponsors that will appeal to, vice versa, me to them to me. But the bigger brands, not necessarily, because they just don't know you exist. And unless they get introduced to you by someone they trust or know, you may not ever get in front of a brand. But we're working on it, and almost every week we're adding about 1,000 subscribers every week to 10 days, and that means we're just getting inherently larger, and we're being discovered by more people every day. So thank you, one, and thank you all. All right, let's go to the news of the day. I have some cruise ship, a little bit of cruise ship info for you that I've been tracking here, just to kind of let you in on what's going on. First bit of news, I thought I'd mention our friends here. First of all, Alaska, the state of Alaska. The Alaska cruising season is about to begin in about a month from now, April. Every April, it sort of starts off and will be in full swing May and June, right up until about September. And this year, the folks in Alaska are expecting a record year for the number of cruisers, passengers, to be coming into Alaska by a cruise ship. The number this year, 1.2 million, is the expected number of passengers to visit Alaska. That's up 15% from last year, and you can attribute that to just a handful of cruise ships. You've got the Norwegian Joy, which is the sister ship to the Bliss. It will be doing Alaska this year. And I believe it's the, if I got this right, is it the Quantum of the Seas? It's one of the large ships from Royal Caribbean also coming in. There are a number of other lines, of course. Princess, Holland America, they dominate Alaska cruising. But there's Disney and Carnival and others are all there. A ton of ships this year. The question I have is, when is enough enough? I'm kind of wondering, as a just an observer from the outside looking in, when do you adore a place to death? Is 1.2 million too many? The way it's going, the way I see the trends going, Seattle, the city of, is building out their port facilities to handle more ships. They want the lion's share of the business going to Alaska. And so Seattle is figuring it's just going to keep on growing. Ports in Alaska, you got to wonder, certain stops in Alaska are going to get to the point where they're just going to be overrun from about 9 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon with gazillions of gawkers and selfie takers and everything else. When is it not charming anymore to take in an Alaska cruise? Is that what you're looking for a holiday to Alaska? You want to see the glaciers. You want to see the fantastic fjord-like landscape. You want to see, we all want to see killer whales and seals in the water, but ship after ship after ship after ship coming through there, it's not a curiosity for the whales. It's more of a pain in the rear end. For them, they're going to avoid these ships. They know what they sound like. They've got sonar. You got to wonder, are you going to get these opportunities? The other thing I wonder about is the U.S. Park Service. Will they start to restrict numbers of cruise ships coming into certain bays where the glaciers are calving? Because everybody wants to get the money shot. They want to be on the deck of a cruise ship the moment a glacier calves into the ocean. All that ice falls down, creates all that commotion. That doesn't happen on command. That happens whenever it happens, sometimes in the middle of the night, sometimes in the middle of the day. And will the U.S. Park Service begin to limit the number of ships coming into these tight areas? These are not, these aren't that roomy, miles and miles and miles of water where you can just, move around. You have to come in quietly. You have to stay a certain distance. And unless you have a powerful lens on your camera, you're not going to catch some great shots. You might have a spectacular shot with your iPhone of the glacier and the sky and the water, but the calving might only take place on this much of your screen, and you're just not going to catch the shot that you can see. When you see some of these YouTube videos that are posted out there, some of these calving videos are incredible, but that's because the lenses being used are just top of the line. And I don't know how many times magnification the photographer is being able to use to get you in there. But anyway, we'll see. As I say, I'm just wondering. I know there's zip lines have been installed in some of these places. They're installing. They're trying to enhance the onshore experience for people, to give them something to do, because it's just not enough to walk off the ship and be amongst nature. You don't make money as a tour creator in Alaska. If you're in Alaska trying to make $1 in the summer, you're trying to make a year's worth of money in 5 months from all those tourists coming off the ship. That's you. They're going to come up with some kind of experience. They're going to try to come up with something to get you to drop some cash, and they'll come up with all kinds of gimmicks and bus rides and, you know, take you here, take you there to try to get you to drop some coin. Like I say, how authentic it is, I don't know. Of course, if you've never seen glaciers before, or you've not seen, you know, the wilds of Alaska before, it can be quite stunning. But with a busload of 40 to 60 others, it may not be so much fun. I just don't know. Anyway, I mentioned that. Anyway, today, that was the story that I caught up today with regard to Alaska. It's going to be busy this summer. It's going to be packed. 1.2 million people. That's the highest number on record. We'll see how it goes. The cruise lines need the business. The operators in Alaska need the money. There's a whole lot of gambling going on up there. You thought the gold rush was a gamble. This is a huge gamble. Billions of dollars of cruise ships, millions of dollars of tours. Hopefully the weather cooperates and the tourists will get off the ship and enjoy. And hopefully you, as a consumer, will be happy with the product you get. Like I say, it's not a quaint little trip anymore into the outback, into the wilderness where it's quiet and all. No, you're going to be surrounded by a lot of folks. Some of these ships, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 passengers per ship. Sometimes you can have 2 or 3 ships in a port. You're looking at 10 to 15,000 tourists overrunning a Klondike type setting, a gold rush type town setting. It's hardly going to be the 1880s. We'll have to see how this works out. All right. Other news that I came up with today. Carnival Cruise Lines. Carnival has been in the news the last day or so. Released sailings Europe. The president of the company was being asked, what does it look like for business in Europe this year? Some of the cruise lines in Europe are not reporting phenomenal numbers. We're going to see how this works out. Well, apparently, story has it that Carnival is insisting that their European and their Asian business is doing rather well. But upon further investigation, it appears that, yes, Carnival is doing well as far as their booking numbers are concerned, as far as their occupancy on the ships are concerned. But the reality is they're selling cruises at a cheaper price. They are doing more giveaways and more promotions to fill the ships. Because the number one thing about a cruise ship is if you don't have a person on it, you don't make any money. You got to fill the ship with people, and sometimes you discount the room rate, the actual cruise rate, or you enhance the cruise with free drink packages, free Wi-Fi, specialty dining, whatever it takes to get people on board, and then you attempt to extract as much money out of them as humanly possible while they're on the ship and have nowhere else to go. And so both Europe and China's bookings are strong, according to Carnival, and that would be through the Costa line, that would be through the P&O, that would be through ADA perhaps, but and the Carnival brand, although Carnival hasn't got much in the way of ships in Europe this year, but at a lower cost. Now, in that vein, I also caught more information regarding the China market. The president of Carnival was asked about specifically the China cruising market, because in the last year and a half, there have been cruise lines pulling out of China and reducing their offerings to the Chinese market, simply because the folks, for example, at Norwegian, who took the Norwegian Joy out of, they're taking the Joy right out of China. They're refurbishing her right now, I think, in Singapore. That ship will be in Alaska next month. That is a barely a 2-year-old cruise ship, billion-dollar build, sister ship to the Bliss. Disaster, a complete disaster in China. The Norwegian folks keep talking about how excited they are and how pumped up they are to get the Norwegian Joy over to Alaska. Well, they're moving it there because they have They are tired of losing millions and millions of dollars running a brand new, beautiful cruise ship in a market that just did not deliver for what they thought they were going to get. In the case of Carnival, they've taken a different approach. They did not build brand new shiny cruise ships and send them to China to try to score a market share. Royal Caribbean did that with their ship, and now and Norwegian did it with theirs. Carnival figured you can't beat them. Why don't we join them? And they've joined up with a major shipbuilder in China, where they are transferring ships from the Costa line over to a joint venture cruise line that they have made up with a Chinese shipbuilder. And they're also bringing ships over under their own Costa brand. They are talking about 4 ships will be there this year. There'll be 4 ships over there that were once part of the Costa brand or Carnival brand that are now part of a new line or the existing Costa line. But upon closer inspection from my end of it, I'm noticing that the ships that they are sending over there are 18 to 20 years old. It's the older ships in the Costa fleet. So they are building brand new ships, Costa, Carnival, for the European market, the Mediterranean market, the Baltic, the British Isles. They're building brand new, large, beautiful ships for Costa, but they're not going to China. Those are not going there. The ships that are going to China are the old clunkers that are in need of major retro work, and they're doing a refresh on some of these ships right now for the China market. And I'm thinking it's a smart move by Carnival, because they're only risking a $100 million, $200 million ship, because at 20 years old, original cost to build these might have been $350, $400 million. Depreciated value today, they're worth $50 million. You throw $50 million into them to freshen them up, you got a $100 million asset in the China market, while Norwegian is taking out a $1 billion asset and moving it to Alaska, where the dough is real American dollars from real American cruisers, Canadians and others. We're in China. You're not getting the results you wanted. There is way too many issues in China to go into here, but the cruise lines will not tell you what the real problem is. But there are real problems with the China cruise market. And one of them is you can't get capacity, can't get them filled up, and you're not getting enough high rollers. And those who are on the ship, you're just not getting enough money out of these folks to make it pay. And to operate the cruise ship in that market with a low take coming in, you are guaranteed to lose money on a brand new asset like $1 billion build out ship. So it'll be interesting to see how this works itself through the next year or 2 or 3. I suspect now what'll happen is China's shipbuilder will now build new ships with Carnival. It's a 50-50 partnership. They will build out new ships just for the China market, but they will use Chinese labor to make them, Chinese parts, Chinese steel, Chinese everything to make it. So it'll be built at a discounted cost, as opposed to building it in Finland or the ship being built in Germany, for example. And since Carnival is on the hook for half, not all, that's reducing their risk even further. And they're now going to be able to appeal to the Chinese tourism people, the travel agencies, that they have built ships just for the Chinese market by Chinese manufacturers. These ships should be given strong consideration for first dibs over imported, foreign cruise lines that aren't necessarily from China. And we'll see how this all works out. I find it, to me, as a businessman, if I were there, I wouldn't be bothering, because the rules can change overnight by the whim of one guy or a Politburo or whatever you want to call these guys. There is no, you don't run everything over there by popular consensus. It's run by one party rule, and things can change overnight. I just kind of wonder, there's greener pastures all over the globe, to me, for cruising than the Chinese area. But hey, to each his own. Whatever works. And I'm assuming that Carnival is taking the long-term approach. They're figuring, well, we got 20-year-old ships that we're sending over there. What's the future of these ships anyway? They were going to be run in Europe for a little longer, maybe. Maybe we're going to sell them off to India, to other third world countries, to convert them into cruise ships in third world settings. These ships didn't have a long, bright future in the heart of the Mediterranean, not with all the new ships coming out of these Finnish and German plants, shipbuilding plants. There's some beautiful ships coming out that are going to dominate the European business. And Carnival is investing heavily in these brand new ships, as is Royal Caribbean, as is Norwegian, and others. MSC investing billions in brand new, shiny, gorgeous ships. These old Costa Carnival liners, they're out of here. And send them to China, and let's see what happens. Let's see if they can prove themselves and make a few bucks and give us a bit of a footprint there, and then we'll see what happens. So if it doesn't work out, Carnival can say, hey, it was a write-off. We'll give it 5 years, 6 years. If it doesn't work out, we'll sell these ships off somewhere else and move on and call it a tax write-off if that, because remember, Carnival really doesn't pay taxes. They can write stuff off and defer expenses all over the place, but they don't pay taxes in the USA. All right, that's the second general story that I had going today. The third story is the story that is still dominating the airwaves, is still dominating anything to do with the cruise news of the day, and it's all about this cruise ship called the Viking Sky that had all kinds of fun a couple of days ago just off the shore of Norway in that ridiculous weather. We have seen videos and photos from everywhere, videos from helicopters, videos from inside the ship, videos from shore of the ship tilting and listing. It never ends. And now the news has shifted. It's shifting again. The focus now is on the captain of the ship. Now, I did a video about an hour and a half ago talking about how Norwegian authorities are now seriously looking into why on earth did this captain take this luxury cruise liner, this ship, out into a known storm. This was no secret. This wasn't like, oh, we didn't know it was windy out there. Oh, no. Everyone knew it was windy out there. This stretch of water that the cruise ship got caught up in is notorious for really rough seas, depending on the right conditions, winds and everything else. I found out today a number of interesting facts I put in the video. I'll share with you a couple of facts. I had heard that there were 17 people injured on the ship. That might well be true. That might well be the real number, that 17 people were injured on the ship. But I have since found out that 36 people were in the hospital the 24 hours right after the event. They got people off the ship and landed the ship in the port that it's in now in Norway called Mold. 36 people were in the hospital at one time. That's how many passengers were needed to be in hospital. I'm not sure if it's all passengers or some crew, but 36 souls admitted to hospital. As of this morning's count, 8 were still in hospital, 1 in critical condition. So 7 are rumored to be out maybe today or tomorrow, and only 1 will be left, and critical condition patient. I don't know who it is. I don't know what the status will happen. I don't have these details. But that's point number 1. Point number 2, this surprised me. There's a cruise line that is called the Coastal Express line, Coastal Express ferry service. Now, this is run by, I think this is a nationally sponsored cruise line where you have to pay to get on these ships, but I think what you pay is a subsidized rate where the Norwegian government is subsidizing the cost of this particular ferry service. This ferry service runs a number of ships up and down the coast of Norway, in and out of various ports, and with the ships that they have, the ships they operate are kind of like sort of a cross between a cruise ship and an icebreaker. They're not necessarily icebreakers, but they are certainly not pleasure craft cruise type ships that you see in the Caribbean or off the coast of Mexico, the ones that we go on. The Viking Ocean Cruise Line is running. All of their ships are identical. They're about 750 feet long. They're about 92 feet. They're about 45,000 gross tons. These are all classic cruise ship cruise for the casual cruiser, and they're not designed and they're not built for North Atlantic heavy duty traversing of serious waves and winds. That's not what the Viking ship cruise line is all about. The one line that is the closest to be able to handle that kind of weather would be Cunard. Cunard has built their ships in the tradition of the Queen Elizabeth II and the Queen Mary. These ships are ocean liners. An ocean liner is a heavy duty hulled craft, might be double hull, might be much thicker on the steel. These are ships designed to handle the serious North Atlantic storms, and in effect, a Cunard ocean liner can keep a schedule 5 days, 6 across the Atlantic on no matter pretty well. Whereas the Viking ocean cruise ships, they're designed to go in and out of St. Croix and San Juan, Puerto Rico on a calm day. They're designed to coming out of Miami, coming out of Port Canaveral. They're designed to give us those beautiful cruises with those turquoise water shots that we see advertised to us by the cruise lines. They are not designed to go in and out of howling winds and 40-foot waves off the coast of Norway in the middle of the winter. Question was asked of the captain if the Coastal Express people didn't go out. They didn't even go out on the 23rd of March with their ships. Their ships are like ocean liners. They can handle all kinds of turmoil. They didn't even bother sailing. They canceled all their sailings that day. Why on earth would you go out with 900 and something passengers, 460 crew, 1,300 souls on board a cruise ship that is really built for the Caribbean market, the Mediterranean market, certainly not to handle the kind of weather and waves that were waiting for you outside the port? There's an answer to that question. What answer the cruise line made me do it? I have to get the ship back to London by such and such a day, and they told me from head office, get your butt in gear, captain, and get it over there? Or was this purely a call for the captain to make? Does he have the authority to make the call and keep his job if he doesn't attempt the sailing from Norway over to the UK and get the ship up the River Thames into downtown London to finish off this cruise? This was the second last day of the cruise. Was there pressure? The owners are insisting that it's a captain's call. It's always the captain's call. But I bet you if you could have a beer with the captain and in private and really ask them what they think, you'd be surprised at how many captains go, yeah, it's my call. It's my job. As soon as I say no, I'll be reassigned to something else, because if I don't get that ship back to London like I'm supposed to, 900 and something people are going to miss flights home. 900 more people who are on the next cruise might not make it, although this ship's next cruise is supposed to start, I think, in Amsterdam. Yeah, you talk to the captain in private, you get one answer. You ask the captain in public, you might get another. And if you ask the PR department, you get a whole other question. Anyway, the Norwegian authorities are looking into it. The ship itself is still in mold. It's spelled M-O-L-D-E in Norway. They will not let the ship leave at the moment. It's still under investigation. Authorities, I'm wondering if they might be, there might even be charges laid against the captain for sailing in dangerous conditions. The ship was not in international waters when it got into trouble. It was in Norwegian waters and would have to have adhered, as far as I know, to Norwegian maritime law. This is Bruce, the speculator, talking here. I can't speak as a legal man, but you got to wonder if the ship is not in international waters and was now being assisted by Norwegian Coast Guard assets to get passengers off the ship. You got to wonder if that cruise ship was really under the control of Norwegian authorities, and maybe Norwegian laws may have been broken. I don't know. Anyway, that's part of what I have. I have found out that 4 engines died on the ship. That when the ship, within minutes of the engines conking out, and why, I don't know. What you know, were the engines not able to operate in this kind of condition? I don't know. But within mere minutes of the ship's conking out, the ship was at the mercy of the winds and the waves, and passengers who were, this is midday on a Saturday, I think it was. Some were in the lounge having a cool one when all of a sudden they noticed chairs flying by, and they had to hang on to the bar for dear life because everything went down. And when the glasses in the bars and the dishes in the restaurants all came sliding off the tables because they were probably getting ready for lunch, you knew we're in a world of hurt here. And we're yelled at by crew, immediately get on the floor, sit on the floor immediately. Don't try and stand up in these conditions. Sit on the floor and preferably hang on to something that is tied down. Then within minutes, the announcement came out over the radio, over the airways from the captain in the bridge: get to your muster stations immediately. So they had to get over to their cabins if they, or just go right to your muster stations. There are life jackets waiting for you there. They all knew. The passengers now knew this is serious. We are in trouble. And there was an account from one passenger who said that the ship was able to lower its anchor, and the crew had that look on their face that they're all kind of looking at each other going, we don't know how bad this is going to be, but we are only 1.5 miles from shore, and they could see the waves crashing on rocks not too far from the ship. And apparently, by some estimation, the time the anchor caught the bottom of the ocean floor and held the ship in place, by the way, the chain was groaning. They could hear the chain making all this noise as the ship was torquing and pulling on it. They figured that at one point in time they were only 300 meters away from the rocks onto the rocks, and this ship was ready to be torn apart like a tin can on those rocks. It was minutes. It would have been mere minutes along that the ship would now have been crashing into these rocks at every angle and heaving and you name it. How many casualties? No one knows. It was this close. It was so close to disaster, and this is why the Norwegian authorities, day 3, are really looking at the ship's logs. They're looking at positionings from the satellite positionings. They're looking at currents. They're looking at all this information to try to determine just what the heck happened and when it happened. And the thankful news is that the engineers were able to get one of the engines running again to allow electronics to be going, and I guess be able to at least somehow keep the ship pointed in a certain direction, with the anchor at the front of the ship doing what it was doing, and perhaps one of the engines in the back doing what it was doing. They were able to at least keep the ship in a certain position, but the captain had to call out a mayday, an SOS, and get the helicopters to take passengers off, because they had no idea how long will be at this specific spot in this specific position. Can we get a majority of our passengers off the ship? I think they got 467 out of the about half the passengers out. That would have been longer than 24 hours, maybe 36 hours. They were taking passengers off that ship in the dead of night at 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, with just lights from the helicopter and lighting on the deck of the ship. They were still plucking passengers off in the middle of the night. And I don't think they would have been able to get everyone off for at least another 24 hours. This might have taken over 48 to 60 hours to get everyone off, other than maybe the last, 10 or 20 crucial crew members, engine room people and bridge people. I don't even know. I just really am skeptical that had the ship not been able to move from the spot it was at, could the anchor have given way? Yep. Could the chain have broken? Well, maybe. Could the engines conked out again? Able to tie the ship down, perhaps? Again, it depends on the conditions. This could have been an absolute disaster. They may have gotten 400 or 500 people off, and then the ship crashed into the rocks, and they would have lost how many of those? It was a disaster averted by that much. And I think as time goes by, we will be getting information out, because the Norwegian authorities are involved, not the cruise liner. The cruise line isn't involved in the investigation. It's the Norwegian authorities that are involved in the investigation. We may well get details of how close this came to being a complete catastrophe. And the folks at Viking would prefer this not get out, but it's going to get out. And I'll follow it, let you know. It's a lesson learned. I ask myself, why on earth would a cruise line that doesn't have a reinforced hull be going into the north of Norway in the first place? What are you doing in the middle of the winter going to see the northern lights? These weathers coming through from the UK over to Norway and over to continental Europe are so deadly and so intense. We're talking almost, in some cases, these winds can reach upwards of 80 knots, close to hurricane strength winds with up to 40, 50-foot waves, with no let up whatsoever. Why on earth would you have a pleasure craft like a Viking Ocean cruise ship up in that area in the first place? It makes no sense to me. I don't care how skilled the captain is. I don't care how skilled the engineers are. If the hull of the ship itself and the actual ship is just not designed to handle these kinds of conditions, why are you even there risking lives of upwards of 1,300 people? It makes no sense, because right now they have missed their next cruise. That has been canceled. You've got 900 passengers who aren't on the next cruise. The cruise after this one, how many want off? How many passengers don't want to be on it? Will the ship even be ready? How many of the crew are quitting? They want out. The cost of this entire fiasco right now, with having to get these people home from where they are and all this, and the hospital bills, this is a mess. The cost from the Coast Guard is going to be in the millions and millions of dollars. You got to wonder if Norwegian is really going to, if Viking is really going to think about future sailing off the coast of Norway going forward, and any cruise line. I mean, any cruise line. Why would Ada Cruising want to be there? Why would Norwegian Cruising be in the winter? Be up there in the winter? I can't see any point of it. Why would you want to be off the British Isles, the northern part of the UK, in the middle of the winter? It makes no sense to me. Now, have you folks heard? I've been telling you about it. How many cruise ships are under construction right now? At least 40 that are under construction, that in some cases have reinforced hulls to handle ice flows. We're talking about the so-called luxury expedition market that is being heavily promoted right now as the next big thing. There are computer-generated images out there of so-called cruise passengers going to visit penguins in the Antarctic, riding these rubber-rafted Zodiacs from the ship to the shore. And the photos that we are seeing, the so-called imagery, is the water is like glass with flows, little tiny N-size, Volkswagen-size icebergs, little tiny ice floes. No problem whatsoever. It's all just serene and calm and pretty. Have you ever seen any of those National Geographic shows where they They show off the life of like being a researcher at the South Pole. Have any of you ever seen that? Have any of you ever seen what it's like working on an oil rig in the North Sea in the wintertime, where you can see the poles that are in the water that the oil platform is on, and the platform is here and the poles are down here, and you see the water going from here to here, like that's 80 feet. That's the kind of conditions you could find yourself in. Where are expedition ships going to go and hide to get away from these kinds of weather systems that can cover 1,000 miles wide and 500 over the Arctic Circle or down in the Antarctic? There is no escape. There is no safe port to go to. Unlike hurricanes or the Caribbean market, you and I, folks, know that if there's a hurricane coming to San Juan, Puerto Rico, the cruise ships leave port and they head on over to Grenada, or they go up to the middle of the Atlantic, or they head over towards Grand Cayman. There's all kinds of places for cruise ships to outrun these hurricanes and stay out of the way, wait a while, and then come back. But up in these Arctic or Antarctic places, there is nowhere to go. There's no port that the ship can go to and plug in for power or anything like that. There's nowhere to get extra fuel. There's nowhere else to get. There's no hospital that you can fly a passenger to from a helicopter if you're in the Arctic Circle. Where are you going to fly them to? The nearest port might be 800 miles away. There's no way to get a heart attack victim or a stroke victim to any kind of medical facility. There are 40 of these ships being built right now, coming out in the next 2 to 5 years for this so-called expedition market. And I'm asking myself, really? It only takes one disaster on one of these ships to kill the whole business. It'll just stop it dead in its tracks. You gotta wonder, is this really doable? Is this really feasible? I don't know. Anyway, we had a very interesting story take place 3 days ago, and more details are now going to come out about this Viking Sky cruise ship, and it's going to, I think, make a lot of people question, what am I thinking if I'm going to book a cruise on a cruise line where they're taking me to a place where it could get really, really ugly. And if a captain like this apparently seasoned, experienced Finnish captain made a call like this to take a ship out into a known storm of this intensity, you got to wonder, how safe are you on a cruise ship that's going out in this kind of weather? I shake my head. Anyway, there you go. There are the thoughts from this YouTuber, this old man in Los Angeles. These are my thoughts on what's been going on today and what's happening in the cruise world. I'd love to get your comments on what you think about all this. What are your thoughts? I gotta tell you, I'm what I think I call myself a fair weather cruiser. If I'm going to be on a cruise ship, I want to be on a cruise ship where it's nice and calm, where the ship can get away if there's weather coming, where a ship will stay in port if necessary. I'm not interested in a rough adventure out in the middle of nowhere. I don't want to get a helicopter ride off the top of a deck of a cruise ship. It's just not my style. I'm kind of curious, what are you looking for? Is that the kind of action you want to have? What about your parents out there, folks? Think about your parents out there who are going on a cruise. If you're younger than I am, do you want them on the on a cruise that they just had over here in Norway? Is that your idea of a good time for them? Man, that is scary stuff. Anyway, say hi to me if you'd like. I'd love it if you would say hi to me. Tell me where you're watching me from. What country are you at? What city? What's your high temperature today? What's the price of gas? Did anyone advertise to you today? Let me know how you're doing. Love to hear from all of you, and let's compare some notes on what's going on. Let me take this iPad here and see the comments that have been coming in. Cool Jazz is here. Paul Wolgus. These comments might be a little on. I probably missed some of the earlier comments because I've been going on so long. Scott Weber's here. Sylvan Forrest is here. Peter Heckema. In Tar Springs, he says, welcome, Peter. 24 again. Wonderful. A little gas is going up, unfortunately. Valerie Jones is here, Bulletproof, and she says. Tom Henry is here, Bill Musselman, Linda Lou, Brittany Lockwood, Debbie Manuel from Chico, California. How are you doing? Gas is too expensive here. No commercial again today. Hi to all the TWB family from Debbie Manuel. Welcome to the show. Let's give Bruce a thumbs up, says Brittany Lockwood. I got 32 so far. Thank you for that, everybody. Who else is here? Paul Wilgus is here. Tyler H is here. How you doing, Tyler H? Linda Lou, Carla Miller, Bruce, 72 in Arlington, Texas, gas 231 at Sam's Club. I saw a RedBubble ad before you went live. Right on. Fantastic. Scott Weber, I see. BC is here. John LeBeau is here. David C. Perkins, hello again. I've been away for a few days. Welcome, David Perkins. Good to have you back here. Nice to have you. Sylvan Forest, hey, Bruce and all, 83 in Delray Beach. Sunny, slight breeze. It's cigar time. That is inside fixing RNC, Rum and Cokes. Fantastic. Thumbs up, hit subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Thank you, Sylvan, for the shout-out. Wes Morrison, hello. It's 77 here, New Braunfels, Texas. Gas 221 a gallon. Scott Weber, Bruce, need to hang out with the CEOs. Vivian is saying, how far from 20,000? We're only a couple hundred away from 20,000 subs. Kelly Haston, hey, TWB. Beautiful day in Pensacola, Florida. Fantastic, Kelly. Cool Jazz is here from New York. Welcome. Deb Guimet is here from Northern New York State. Hi, Bruce, TWB family. It's a beautiful 80+ in Kissimmee gas. She's not even in Northern New York State. This is where she's from. She's in Florida. It's 80 degrees where she is in Kissimmee, Florida. Gas is $2.75. Been 6 since arrival on Thursday. Paul and the grandkids are having a great time. You have, Deb, and get better real quick. Who else is saying hi to me here? Let me go through the comments because a lot of the folks are just talking to each other. Scott Weber's talking about Alaska. Alaska saying he's saying Glacier Bay is already heavily regulated. That's why you see Tracy Arm and Hubbard Glacier. Very interesting, sir. Let's see here. Kate, I see you, Thomas. I see you. Let's see. Ocala. Johnny Fitzhugh is here saying hi, Bruce. Who else is here? Gregory Toomer. Hi, Bruce. Whatever happened to Granny that was packing over there in Grand Cayman? April 15th. This is trial date. That's for Granny. April the 15th. We'll see what happens. We'll try to stay on it. Andrew Cabate. Hi, Bruce. I just subscribed. Love all those. Thank you, Andrew, so much. Nice words. Vivian, when I click on your name, it says to channel. Laugh out loud. Nurse Nancy, hi there. WB. It's another beautiful day in Wisconsin today. Highs in the mid-50s. My commercial was United Airlines. Welcome, Nurse Nancy from Wisconsin. Who else here? Scott Weber. Last trip I took to Alaska, cruise went to smaller ports like Homer and Kodiak. I was also on a smaller Hull in America ship, so that's true. Let's see here. Who else is saying hi to me? Just going to go through here these comments. Jim Simpson is here. Hello from Florida. Hi, Jim. How are you, sir? Welcome to the show. Sheila is here. Hi, Bruce. Sorry I'm late. Welcome, Sheila. Blake Butterfly is here. Welcome to the show, Blake Butterfly. Mr. Wigan Dave says wrong. Costa Venenza is a new build for China. Whatever you say. Let's see here. Catherine Hennessy, hello TWB family, 46 degrees and sunny today in New York City. There was an ad for pet today, 66 days till on my Western Caribbean Carnival cruise aboard the I'm so excited. Oh yeah, 66 days and counting. So Catherine, Linda Lou, we already had to mark her tardy. Tom attendance was already turned in. Roger Leonard, I'm smoking in the boys' room. Who else is here? Let me go through here. I got so many messages to catch up on. Cat Rose is here. Hello, Cat Rose. Welcome again. Let's see here. Only the QM2 is an ocean liner. Elizabeth and Victoria are cruise lines. Mr. Deeganway, you're right, Wigan Dave. The QM2 is definitely an ocean liner. She's definitely able to handle it. And it's the one that definitely goes back and forth. Scott Weber, Huntington travels these waters of Norway 12 months a year, but the ships are not considered luxury cruise ships. That's right. They are ferry ships able to handle, pretty rough weather, but Saturday was too even for them. Tom Henry, Traveling with Bruce, the package has been delivered here with a special trinket for you. If you're going to be in Arizona next week and want me to ship the items to you, send the address and I will. Okay, Tom, I'll get this to you right after the show. I have an address for you. I'll have you send it there. I'll get that to you in about an hour. Fantastic. Who else is here as I quickly scroll up here? A lot of folks are saying hi to each other, talking to each other. Sherry Awesome Sunsets is here. Welcome, dear. Welcome to the show. Scott Weber saying hi there. Sherry, Zena, Kimbrell. Thank God nobody died. It was close, Zena. We don't know. There's still some critical condition. Hopefully they'll pull through. Who else is here? Scott Weber. For Northern Lights, I would take Hernington, who are Norwegian, and they have tons of experience in those waters. You know, I would look at the Northern Lights. I would just land in Norway, the country, and stay on shore and look at the Northern Lights. That's the way I'd be doing it. I wouldn't be doing it off the ocean. No way. Let's see here. Who else am I going to say hi to? Who else is around here? Sylvan is saying the Northern Lights are absolutely breathtaking. I've seen them twice while traveling in northern Quebec. No danger of seeing anything like that here in Florida. That's true. Where I'm from in British Columbia and Alberta, northern Alberta, northern BC, you can see them as well. They're fantastic. Bruce, you look like a young Einstein. Thanks a lot. Let's see here. Philip Warren, I think the National Geographic ships are pretty experienced with Arctic cruising. Yep, well, I would say, but I got to say, as a passenger, I'd be a dead duck if it were up and down and up and down. I'd be sick as a dog. These cruises are being touted to passengers, but to prospective customers, as luxury cruises, all the best service, butler service, the best meals. I don't know how you can eat if you're heaving and weaving and dodging and listing. I don't know how you do it in these conditions. But hey, to each his own. It's not my cup of tea, I'll tell you that for sure. Sylvan Forrest says, as Shakespeare wrote, beware sailor, the tides of March, or something like that. Yes, sir. Who else is calling in here? Valerie Jones says, I saw the Northern Lights in Iceland when I was stationed there. That would have been pretty cool, I would say. Very, very cool. Maurice Martins, still in Texas. Welcome, Maurice. Who else is here today? Trying to catch up with all of you folks. Steve McNichol. Hi, Bruce from Orlando. Hello, Steve. Steve Berg. Hi, Bruce. Hi, everybody. It's a balmy 53 in Minneapolis, Minnesota today. Gas, $2.52 a gallon. The ad I got today was for Kmart. Kind of weird. That is kind of weird. Heather Young says, my ad was for booking.com. Very interesting. Maurice Martin say, hey, Bruce. Melomia. Weird people are questioning the captain for sailing into a storm. I remember watching a TV show when the SS Minnow went on a 3-hour tour and the people were shipwrecked for years. There you go. Cat Rose, I thought Kmart was dead. That you gotta wonder. Glenn Edinburgh from Brisbane, Australia is in the house. Hi, Bruce and TWB team. Cool here in Brisbane. It's only 26 Celsius, only in the 80s. How about that? Brittany is saying, Bruce, you're cutting in and out. I've noticed it's not been a good connection for some of the show today. Steve Berg, I thought Kmart was dead too. That's why I found that kind of weird. Touchdown 821. Hey, Bruce, TW family, what cruises have calmer waters? I heard from coworkers that they felt the Caribbean was not smooth and the seasickness. Heard Alaska was better. Well, you can run into a storm anywhere in the world, obviously, but I wouldn't want to be in the North Sea or the North Atlantic with any of that nonsense. Cold water survival is 3 minutes or less if you're in the water. No, thank you. No, thank you. Not that I want to jump in the ocean in the Caribbean Sea either. Trust me, I don't want to do it. Anyway, Steamer, hey, guys, Steamy B. Health today for 5th graders on sex ed and kept on emphasizing the use of deodorant. Their 6th grade teachers will thank me for the use of deodorant. Oh, that's awesome. I wish they would have taught it before so that the grade 5s we would have been all right. But hey, I hear you, Steamer. That's hygiene, personal hygiene for 10, 12, 14-year-olds. Oh yeah, good one. Well done, Vivian. Have to go, guys. Enjoy. See trivia. See you tomorrow. See you, Vivian. Oh, Lucas, good night, Vivian. The steamer, we had the Northern Lights in Sandy Bay, Saskatchewan the other night. In fact, I teach for the Northern Lights School Division. How about that? Sylvan, who cares about the ship's motions? Just eat, drink, and be merry and repeat. Never fails. Yeah, great. Sheila, I thought the people on the ship were very calm to be going through what they were. I wonder if they put sedatives in the water. Theme of the Titanic's maiden voyage was in April. Amy Conrad, hi Bruce, beautiful sunny day in Round Rock, Texas, 77 degrees. Welcome, Amy. Sylvia, I can do any ducking and weaving. I can do the either. I like calm waters too, says Sylvia. I can't do the ducking and weaving. Cool Jazz water is rough getting to New York this weekend. That's true. This time of year, even getting into New York City can be terrible, or getting out of New York City. I ought to know. I took a March cruise out of New Jersey with Jennifer. We went down to the Caribbean and we hit the huge storm. One day out of New York, it was not fun. We lasted 30 hours and it was awful. And we were on a gigantic cruise ship, the Explorer of the Seas, a big ship with stabilizers. And it was not fun, let me tell you. I don't ever want to do that again. But what can I say? Any tips on the Oasis booked 7-day out of Miami next February? Maurice, I think you're going to have a great time. The ship will be completely refurbished. She's being refurbished, I think, almost now or a month from now. So you'll have all the new features on her. I think you're going to enjoy it very much. I think you're going to really like it. Sheila, March wins. The Steaming Bean. Did anyone catch the episode on Transparent where the, what is that? The Pfeffermans went on a cruise. They used NCL. I have not seen that. I don't even know what that is. Unless anyone has seen it, I have no idea, sir. Can't watch it all. I'm experiencing it all doing this show, just trying to keep up with the real world, let alone the pretend world. But more and more movies and TV shows, I guess, are going to be put on ships because more and more ships are available to be shooting on, I guess, as well. They're being built like crazy. We're at 400 now. We'll have 500 cruise ships in the water within the next 5 years. It's incredible how the business is expanding. It really is. A steamer Transparent as on Amazon is on it. Transparent is on Amazon, he says. Very interesting. I have no idea. Mr. Wigan Dave, Oasis Dry Dock is in November. Is it that late? Is it really that late in November this year? I thought they were repositioning the ship over to Europe and then doing a repositioning this spring. That's what I was. I could be wrong. Glenn, I found the more beer you drink, the less the motion you feel on a cruise. Well, there, FYI, there you go. Important safety tips right there from viewers of this channel. That's what makes this channel so engaging with people. Sherry, awesome. Love the Oasis. You will love it, Maurice, says Sherry. Yes, you will. I think you're really going to enjoy the ship. Lots to do on board, and they'll be likely visiting Coco Key, the new island that they built out in the Bahamas. It's going to be great. Steamer better than that darn Kelsey Grammer movie. That's right. Kirsten Bell and Kelsey Grammer did the movie on board the was it the Harmony of the Seas? And I enjoyed the movie because of the footage on the ship. That's what I was more interested in. But yeah, it was a kind of a so-so movie. It was all right. It was okay, I guess. Nurse Nancy, I'm on the Oasis next January. Glad it's in dry dock this year. Maurice, thanks. Sherry, awesome. Steamer, I like Kelsey Grammer and hope that the new Fraser will be good. I'm interested in this new Fraser. How will this run? He'll have new characters, I'm sure, because the character that the actor that played his father has passed away. We'll have to see how all that works out. The writing, it's all about the writing of that show. If they've got the same writers, it's a winner. It's just a winner if they got the same writers. Because that show did so well. It probably got more Emmy Awards on a per year basis than Cheers did. Its actual spinoff. That show did really well. Cat Rose, me, Sylvan. I wish they'd remake Third Rock from the Sun. Oh man, that was something as well. Steamer on Transport or Transparent. The mother stayed in the plush room, says Steamer. Steamer Fraser was my favorite show. Absolutely brilliant writing. Brittany, there can be major delays with anything, including college diplomas. I'll be getting mine next week, and my graduation was back in December. When it comes, it comes. You passed. Don't worry about it. You're there. Way to go, Brittany. Susan R., a new Fraser. Woo! Fantastic. We have 47 thumbs ups today. Thank you, everybody, for the 47. Tuesday shows are usually not heavily watched. Mondays are the big one. Wednesdays, we get a good crowd. I want to thank you all for joining me today. Really appreciate it. Maurice, any updates on the suit from the Skypad accident? I have nothing new there. Scott Weber, I have a question. With all these ships on the West Coast, will Eureka, California, and Coos Bay, Oregon both deep water ports will start seeing cruise ships stopping at them. Maybe, maybe not. It's not that you have a deep water port. It's, do you have onshore activities that will attract the interest of up to 3,000 plus people for the day. You're going to need to offer probably 10 different excursions, perhaps, so that you can split the ship into groups of 100, 200, 300. You sure can't have 1,500 people go to one place. That's not going to work out. So if you've only got a couple of attractions on land and you don't just disperse the crowds, it's going to be mayhem on shore. You got to be able to get them out of the port and back to the port reasonably, so that people can get a full day's enjoyment on the shore. Excuse me. Sherry, that's awesome. Nurse Nancy, we didn't see that it needed any updates. It was beautiful. Touchdown 821. Unrelated question. Do you know how to tell which ships are liquid natural gas? Not off the top of my head, but believe me, the cruise lines will be bragging about it. Steamer tossed salads and scrambled eggs. Sylvan, trivia tonight. Can't wait. Yep, trivia, 8 o'clock Eastern. I'm on the live with trivia tonight. Looking forward to that. Sylvan, dinner awaits. Great show as usual, Bruce. Thanks. See you all trivia at 8 o'clock. Thank you. Philip Warren, Humboldt Bay is way too dangerous for a cruise ship. Yikes. Yeah, I mean, the kind of weather you can get off the coast of California can be pretty unpredictable, depending on the direction of the winds. If you've got them coming from the Santa Anas or they're coming the other direction, you're going to have to offer, I think, ports are going to have docks where the ship can tie up right to the shore. It's going to want to tie right up. And under California regulations, with regards to the environmental rules in California, something tells me that if a cruise ship cannot tie up at a pier, at a dock, and then plug in the shore power, they won't license it. You're not going to be able to get ships in there. And this is where the costs of these facilities just get too much for these smaller ports of call. You can't allow the ship in the water and tender people in because of the unpredictability of the waves and the tides. You can't, the ship won't be allowed to just sit there and run her engines and shoot smoke up into the air. But California won't allow it. So you've got all kinds of environmental restrictions. I think you're going to have shore power to be able to shut those motors off. And that depends on, can you get the ship in to the port because of the conditions. So yeah, this is why there aren't a whole bunch of cruise ships already going up and down the California coast. It would be so easy to take a ship from LA all the way up the coast to Vancouver or Victoria, and then all the way back down because you've adhered to the Jones Act, or you take the ship from California, from LA or Frisco, you go south to Ensenada and then go up the coast and back. Again, you've adhered to the Jones Act. But there's only so many places you can take these ships predictably year-round or in certain seasons. Steamy Bean, the Pfeffmans traveled on the Jewel, and she stayed in the Haven. Oh, interesting. All right, interesting story there. Yeah, more and more episodes of certain shows are being done on cruise ships, definitely, and will probably be so. All depends on how agreeable a cruise line is to having filming done on a ship during a ship's regular run. In some cases, they don't want all these distractions, all these camera people, all these production people on board a ship. That's just too much. You want to just have unfettered access to your clientele and get them to spend money on board the ship and not just gawk at movie stars or production people filming a show. Bruce, if you and Jen stay in the Haven, I'm going with you. Thanks. Thanks for the heads up. I'll be sure to not let you know. I'll let you know after the fact and say, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you. It's completely slipped my mind that you wanted to stay with us on board the Haven, on board the ship with us. What can I say? Oh, my bad. No, on the show they featured the Haven. Oh, right on. Cool. Well, there you have it, folks. I'm going to call it a show. I've got to get ready for trivia here at 8 o'clock Eastern time. It's now looking like we're at, 6 o'clock or so Eastern, so I'm on in less than 2 hours. I look forward to getting ready to have the trivia show with you tonight. The ships want film crews great publicity. Maybe they do. Steamer, maybe they don't. Jen won't mind me. I doubt she would either. I think she'll have a wonderful time with you around the steamer. You'll be lots of fun, I'm sure. Paul Lucas, take care, everybody. Thanks for joining me today on the regular show. I hope you found it engaging and entertaining. I look forward to catching up with you tonight at 8 o'clock for live trivia. I'm ready to roll. The questions are all locked in and loaded. We're going to have some fun. We'll see you at 8 tonight. Otherwise, tomorrow I'm on at 5 o'clock as usual for my regular 5 o'clock Eastern Time show. There you have it. In the meantime, stay safe, stay warm, stay healthy. And today was March the 26th, 2019. I still think it's February. I'm way behind you. Looking forward to catching up with you. Everyone's saying their goodbyes, and thank you guys. See you later. And we'll see you at 8 o'clock tonight Eastern Time. Thanks, you guys. Bye for now. Bye. See you later.